Mouthology. Professor Harold Thompson was a distinguished scientist known for his profound knowledge in various fields of academia. He was a man who took immense pride in his intelligence and often enjoyed testing the intellectual prowess of those around him. One sunny day, he embarked on a voyage, traveling by boat to a distant island for a scientific expedition. As the boat gently cut through the crystal-clear waters, Professor Thompson struck up a conversation with the sailor responsible for navigating the vessel. He asked the sailor a series of questions with an air of superiority in his voice. Do you know biology, ecology, zoology, geography, and physiology? The sailor, a simple and unassuming man, responded with humility, No, Professor, I don't know any of those subjects.
Professor Thompson couldn't hide his astonishment and disdain. He retorted, What on earth do you know, then? You're illiterate in all these essential areas of knowledge. You are condemned to a life of ignorance. The sailor, seemingly unaffected by the professor's condescending remarks, continued to steer the boat. He had seen his fair share of intellectuals, and he knew that wisdom often came in forms far beyond textbooks.
As time passed, the weather took a sudden turn for the worse. Dark clouds loomed on the horizon, and the once calm sea became tumultuous. Waves crashed against the boat, and it began to rock violently. The sailor's experienced hands struggled to maintain control. Amidst the chaos, the sailor turned to Professor Thompson and asked, Professor, do you know swimminology and escapology from sharkology? Perplexed and frightened by the increasingly dire situation, Professor Thompson replied, No, I do not. What are these subjects, and why do they matter now? The sailor gave a knowing smile and said, Well, Professor, it seems you might be in trouble. Without swimminology and escapology from sharkology, you might become an easy target for the predators of the sea. You see, sharkology and crocodilogy could have their way with your body, and your headology won't be able to save you. In the end, you'll find yourself in deep trouble because of your mouthology. As he spoke these words, the sailor's eyes twinkled with wisdom, and Professor Thompson realized the profound truth in what he had said. The storm raged on, and the boat rocked perilously. Professor Thompson, with all his knowledge, found himself powerless against the forces of nature. In a desperate bid for survival, the sailor swiftly executed the principles of swimminology and escapology from sharkology. He expertly navigated the treacherous waters, guiding the boat away from danger. His actions showcased practical knowledge that transcended the boundaries of formal education. Hours later, as the storm subsided and the boat finally reached the island, Professor Thompson disembarked, his ego deflated. He had learned a valuable lesson that day, one that could never be found in textbooks. Knowledge, he realized, came in many forms, and true wisdom encompassed both the theoretical and the practical. The sailor, though lacking in formal education, had demonstrated a mastery of survival, and it was a humbling experience for the professor to admit his own limitations. With newfound respect, Professor Thompson thanked the sailor for his expertise, and the two men parted ways. From that day on, Professor Thompson came to understand that knowledge was not just about what one had read or studied but also about how one applied that knowledge in the real world. He had been reminded that true intelligence involved both theory and practice, and that sometimes, it was the simple wisdom of those with less formal education that could save lives.
As he continued his scientific work, Professor Thompson carried with him the lasting lesson learned on that fateful boat trip: the importance of humility, practical knowledge, and the acknowledgement that even the most educated minds could find themselves in need of wisdom from unexpected sources.